go.
Shut up.
Hello, welcome to today's episode of Juicing the Numbers, your statistics and sports podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Josh Shoot with Tracy.
And I'm Corwin Heller.
And yeah, it's July 7th, just around 6 p.m. here on the East Coast. And boy, howdy, does it seem like there's not too much going on after what felt like several action-packed episodes with a lot going down in the world of sports. Feels like there's not too much up right now. So we'll see what we got. But we're trying to save a lot of discussion that both Corin and I would like to have about where we kind of are state of baseball today for next week when the All-Star break actually officially begins. It's obviously easy to look at us being halfway through the games played mark and kind of making a lot of those conversations and discussions, but that would leave us with like fucking nothing to talk about during the All-Star break, since there's literally no games happening except for one rather trivial one. So holding off on that for a bit. But we've got some other shit to get into. So, Corbin, are you ready to get into it?
Si, senor.
Si, senor, it is. Let's start with the fluffiest of fluff that we got, and that is the Giants. San Francisco Giants released their City Connect jerseys earlier this week. Fucking what day was that? Does it matter? Monday?
It was like 2 days ago. That would be
So,
Monday. Nice.
That would be Monday. Yeah, okay. And the Giants jerseys are Alibaba Cincinnati Red jerseys, essentially. They are a red rust color, supposed to be inspired by the Golden Gate Bridge. And the lettering on the jerseys is faded out into an ombre white, as it's supposed to represent the fog of San Francisco. And Corey and I were rather looking forward to the San Francisco jerseys because there's a lot that you can do with San Francisco. There's a lot. It is rather a melting pot, which I think is really saying something for it being in California to still be thought of as one of the melting pots in such a diverse state. It is home to a large and significant portion of the gay population on the West Coast and is very tied to the identity of that city. And they went with a bridge, and fog, a phenomenon that happens fucking everywhere. And they did the most boring jersey design I think I've ever, like, the current Tampa Bay Rays uniform, I think, is one of the most boring sport jerseys I've ever seen in my entire life. It looks like a jersey that someone would have made in a game. Like Tampa Bay Rays jerseys are not good, but this feels worse, especially because the front of it really genuinely is nothing outside of half the letter G and the Nike swoosh. Corbin, what do you think about these?
Well, seeing as I don't know anything you've said about them because I've just been popping in and out, losing internet left and right. I guess hoping this is original thought. Is the only thing they went with is it's foggy and there's a very famous bridge there, and that's the uniform. Everything they do is based off of one of those two facts. Every detail. There's multiple just silhouettes of the Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, the G is different to focus on the Golden Gate Bridge, and then it's foggy there, so we're gonna have gradient white, and it's not even boring because like the design is minimalistic and genuinely attractive if it was enough. Like it's just if it wasn't meant to be a City Connect jersey and it was just hey, we just designed some simple cool jersey just for the hell of it, just to make it more fun and added this in as just another jersey, sure, okay. But we've been talking so much about how these other jerseys, how these other uniforms are connecting to the cities and trying to, emulate the imagery of the city in a way that can be expressed on a baseball uniform. And this is just kind of, okay, here are some facts. This is the weather and something that is there. And it's just kind of blah.
Yeah, and it's tough. I understand that a lot of structures can be symbolic of the city in terms of some level of visual representation. You see the St. Louis Arch, it's very easy to say, well, shit, that must be a St. Louis thing that's happening. Or if you see the Empire State Building, you go, oh, that must be a New York thing that's happening. Or you see a big fucking bean on the ground and you go, ah, that must be Chicago. Like, I understand it. But if we break down the term city connect, it's tough to say that any one building or architectural structure is really going to connect you with the city outside of, yes, that is a thing that exists there. That's what's tough about it. You look at the ones that we've referenced many times before because the ones that came out first. You look at Miami and Boston's, and they have nothing to do with physical structures in those towns. They have to do with either things that happen in those towns or the cultures that are rooted within those towns, which that makes sense. That's how you're going to connect with a city. If you wandered around San Francisco and said, boy, howdy, do I love that bridge, everyone's gonna look at you like you're a fucking jackass, because that's what I would do if someone wandered around New York and said, boy, I do love that Empire State Building, much as the same as I'm sure other people would do if you were walking around St. Louis and said, oh boy, do I love that arch. It's like, shut the fuck. Who the fuck asked you? Fuck off. No one likes you. Like,
Having to hold my laptop monitor, like the screen on my laptop, because I'm laughing, like gut laughing, and it's shaking it so much.
because, like if you walked around Miami and were like,
Yeah.
man, I love these Cubans, or I love the Cuban population here, or the Cuban nightlife, or the Cuban culture, everyone would be like, yeah, fuck yeah. Being Cuban is awesome. We love being all Cuban on up in down here. And if you went to Boston and we're like, I love commemorating the Boston Marathon, it was an important part of this city's history, people will be like, yeah, totally was. Dig it. Um, it's tough to do that with a fucking scrap heap of metal that people use to commute. That is tough. That is very tough.
It's a tough sell right there, yeah.
It's like saying you can encapsulate all of the glory of Staten Island in the Verrazano Bridge. And it's like, look, don't have high opinions of Staten Island, but I'm willing to bet that most people there would much rather be associated with like hip hop culture than the fucking Verrazano. Like it's vapid.
It's reminding me of those jerseys, or not the jerseys, but the caps that New Era did earlier in the year, where it was just like, all right, you have for all 5 California teams, you have a palm tree, the outline of California, and a bear, and then one other thing for wherever you are, plus some years on the front. And it's just like every city was just like, for it was the shape of of the state. It was a food item that was popular there. It was
The city
some
name spelled in different fonts like 3 times.
right, and it's just like two other like significant features about it, just like on each what are they called? Like
Panel.
panels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um looking at the new ones that they just came out with, the
So
one that
say
are
we should
like
talk
the
about these. The
super,
fonts.
yeah, the
Yeah.
stupid fucking fonts. Looking at the old ones that I was just complaining about compared to these, I'd buy one of the old ones before I'd ever even put one of the new ones on. They're bad. Like, at least the other ones are funny and we can laugh about it because it's a meme now. These are just ugly as sin.
Oh yeah. Oh
They're,
yeah.
ugh.
But we'll get to those in a second. Yeah. Man, it also sucks because they're boring, these Giants jerseys. Like, it'd be one thing if they were super duper wacky and like there's a niche for it, but it's like, man, these are just also bore. Like, how cool would it have been if they did something gold and they combined the history of San Francisco in relation to the gold rush, which is evident in other sports teams there, like the San Francisco 49ers, and combined the big dramatic color of gold with like part of San Fran's, which I understand that they hate. So if you're from there, go fuck yourself. San Fran's LGBTQ plus community, and like really like found a cool way to like mesh those two ideas together. It would be, I think, very easy. And I sat here and thought of it now, and it ain't a fucking bridge. I'll tell you that. Doing something relating to fucking covered wagons probably would have been more fucking interesting than this, but whatever. I'm
Just
very nervous to see what happens with the Yankees.
even if like if they did the white gradient, sure, but just instead of red, use gold for the Golden State Bridge or Golden Gate Bridge. And then just got rid of like the stupid silhouettes that are just kind of placed on there. Okay, like you're working with something. I don't know. The one
I'm
that's
with you
just
because
on the
even if
hat, I
they,
think, is so much worse.
well, yeah, that this is the first one where you can't even say, well, at least the hat's good.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, you're right. Because even if they just took kept everything the same, and just took the bridge design that they have on the sleeves, and also put that on the front of the jersey, I think it'd be better because it's not just this big white slate. It's just ugly. Yeah, but I am, God, I'm very afraid to see what they do with the Dodgers now because they're next, right?
The Dodgers, and then I guess they are the last one. I thought there was one more.
No, yeah, I think you're right. I think there is one more.
Angels, maybe, or the Rockies. No, because we already had the Diamondbacks. I feel like it was like the Padres were the only team in the NL West that weren't in it. So that's why I'm thinking Rockies and Dodgers, but it's Dodgers and somebody.
I'm trying to find a schedule right now for them, but that's just showing me past ones, not future ones. What a shame.
City Connect release dates. NikeNews.com. News.nike.com. Okay. This is where I found it last time. I'm confident in you. Nope, you don't.
Yeah. Oh no, Dodgers is the last one I see on modernnotoriety.com. It just says late August, so I guess that is the last one.
Dodgers, yeah. Nike's website is saying the Dodgers are the last one too.
And yeah, I would be
And that's
afraid if
like
I was a Dodgers
August
fan.
something, end of August, beginning of August.
Legitimately, what's the stupidest thing they could do for the Dodgers?
Um, Hollywood
Like,
sign.
oh my God, like the Dodgers, but in Hollywood block letters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that just jumped out at me.
And they put like a Hollywood, like the star from like the Walk of Fame. Like that'd
Oh
be the
God,
cap.
yeah. Oh yeah, like the Dodgers logo inside the star, whatever.
Yeah. That Walk of Fame
Walk of
star.
Fame star. Yeah, yeah.
There's gonna be like a spotlight there somewhere highlighting something unnecessarily.
Oh my God.
It's gonna look like a movie themed bar mitzvah shirt. It's gonna be like, I walked the red carpet at Ben's bar mitzvah. But it's the actual Los Angeles Dodgers jersey.
Oh, that's fucking great.
Oh my God. Oh, I said it and now I can see it, and it's probably actually gonna happen because Nike is devoid of good ideas. Oh
I'll tell you
no.
what. The Dodgers, or sorry, not the Dodgers. ESPN. I went on to check if they had a release date, and I found an article ranking the City Connect jerseys from when the Giants released theirs. What would you say is the best jersey so far?
Uh
Mine's
Probably
Arizona.
Arizona? Yeah.
Yeah, Arizona's is gorgeous, right?
Love it.
What's your least favorite so far?
Oh well, these Giants.
Really? Okay. Mine's Boston. I just really don't like those Boston jerseys.
I can at least appreciate the swing they made with Boston, but Boston's probably third from the bottom for me.
All right. The Boston jerseys are third from the bottom in third place out of the 5 so far. They put Arizona at 4.
Oh,
Or actually, no, there's 6 total. So Boston at 3, Arizona at 4, Giants at 5, Cubs at 6,
so
with the
Cubs being the
Marlins at
ugliest at
2.
6.
Yep. And then
Got it.
Chicago White Sox having the best.
That makes sense.
Arizonas are so pure, just so perfect. And
I love that fucking sand color and the
everything
Diamondback's
about them.
name,
Yeah.
Serpientes, I should say, spelled out with a snake.
Serpientes.
So fucking cool.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of theirs.
Yeah, fuck you, ESPN. You don't know shit.
Correct.
Speaking of folks that don't know shit, I guess let's talk briefly about the because we're talking about fashion today on the show.
Fashion.
The new era caps that now had fonts that also claimed they sold out like immediately. I don't know if you saw that part, but people were posting screenshots all over Twitter, like right after they dropped, of saying that they were sold out, which I think really means pull them.
Yeah. They're sold out because all of a sudden we now have 0 of them. Oh, I wonder what happened.
Well, but you see, what happened is we made 2, and we gave 1 away of each, so there's only 1 for sale. Look, man, I'm not going to sit here and claim I know how to make a good hat, but I'm pretty sure that superimposing the name of the team in a variety of fonts, like a 4th grader who just finds wingdings on Microsoft Word, is not a good way to make a hat. Because that's essentially what this is. And while I can understand to a certain extent that it's like no news is bad, or no news is bad news. Being in the news is good, essentially. Might be a good way to teach the basic concept of marketing to people, but I don't think constantly being in the news because all of your products are hot ass is a good way of doing it.
Just it's the ugliest thing I've seen out of a company for like New Era, who is, to me at least, known as the company that always produces absolute quality.
Oh
Like, I've
yeah,
never had a New Era cap that I've been like, this fucking is a piece of shit. This sucks. Like, yeah,
I'd
they
venture
have different
most people's
styles for
hats
different
are new
people.
era hats
Yeah,
because they're that
absolutely.
good.
And this is just like it's such a sour taste. I am very convinced it's going to affect my opinion of future hats.
Yeah, I mean, it's not worth spending, I guess, a world of time on because it's like, how much can you talk about a
Oh,
shitty fucking hat? But boy, oh, I
okay.
had those bad hats. What?
Honestly, they have some really good ones out right now. Different like collections that they have that I genuinely really like.
Oh yeah, sure. New. That's part of
Like
the other thing is New Era comes out with a fuck ton of hats.
they have this wave cap that I'm looking at now that I think is, like, for some teams, gorgeous. Like the White Sox where it's like white on black.
Mm-hmm.
That's gorgeous. Like the Yankees one is really great. Padres doesn't work out too well because it's a wave of shit. Oh, the Angels one is beautiful. Um, and then there's one with like uh cherry blossom, and there's one with like yellow rose. Like there's a bunch of ones that are really nice and I really like, but this fucking fonts and the meme one just I need some time to figure out where we are, New Era. I'm sorry.
You're taking a little pause in the relationship here. Yeah. Well, yeah. Then let's tap dance on over to the next thing we had written down. There's a segue for you. And that's that today, not that when you're listening to this, it's the 8th when you're listening to this, but the 7th when we're recording this was Satchel Paige's MLB debut. Now, obviously, the Negro Leagues are an official major league, and this is not meant to diminish that in the slightest, just that this is the day in 1948. So it's, 73 years? Yeah. Um, which Satchel Paige was actually given the, well, when the barrier that was preventing Satchel Paige from joining the major leagues earlier was finally lifted to an extent and allowed him to become a part of a major league team, debuting with the then Cleveland Indians, July 7th, 1948. Up to that point, Satchel Paige had been a ridiculously good pitcher. And he had literally his accomplishments up to that point in his previous 20 seasons are almost too numerous to spend time on because, I mean, I'll just put it this way. He led the league in various points in wins, losses, because he pitched a bunch, win-loss percent, ERA twice, games twice, games started 3 times, shutouts twice, saves twice, if you can fucking believe it. Innings pitched 3 times, strikeouts 6 times, batters faced once, ERA plus twice, FIP, believe it or not, for the seasons that we have anyway. He led the league in FIP 4 times, WHIP 4 times, and strikeout to walk ratio, Jesus Christ, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, and was a Negro League All-Star 6 times, all before joining the Cleveland Indians. Additionally, he was Triple Crown winner, 2-time ERA title, and had won 2 Negro League World Series up to that point. So a star-studded career already. Then going beyond that, his actual his MLB career, in which he played 5 seasons plus 1 game in 1965 as a promotional thing. He pitched 476 innings in Major League Baseball. He had an ERA of 3.29. Mind you, this is from ages 41 to 46. Which is just stupid. He had 7 complete games, 4 complete game shutouts, 33 saves, 288 strikeouts, an ERA plus of 124, and a FIP of 329. His WHIP was 1279. That is a strikeouts per 9 of 5.4 and a strikeout to walk ratio of 1.6. Dirty fucking nasty, man. Just ridiculous.
Dirt nasty. We just spent last episode talking about Ichiro Suzuki and everything he was able to. Did we talk about Ichiro, or was that something I did on my own? Because I was looking at his baseball reference page yesterday.
I think we made a passing comment about Ichiro, but it's tough to remember. We make a lot of these podcasts. Continue with your point.
We do. Either way, what he was able to do coming in as, a rookie at 27 years old, 10 straight All-Star appearances, just a monster in MLB, and played until he was 46, 47. And Satchel Paige comes in and starts off at 41. Like, in your mind, is he the best pitcher of all time?
Satchel Paige?
Yeah.
I mean, it's such an interesting question, because one of the things that Satchel Paige has going for him is that he is also one of the, I think, most fairy taled pitchers, like the fact that there's so many stories of the weird and wild and unbelievable shit that he could do on a baseball diamond that exists just adds so much to the mythology of him. And also how in demand he was as a player. Satchel Paige bounced around a decent amount from team to team during his tenure in the Negro Leagues because he was so good that his salary that he commanded couldn't be paid long term, and teams would shell out money for him to pay him while they could until he walked to a different team. So he ended up playing for, in his Negro League career, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different Negro League teams. 6 different Negro League teams. I added in Kansas City Athletics by mistake. 6 different Negro League teams during his time in the Negro Leagues. And was a killer on all of them. Um, damn, where would I rank him though? Fuck, I think he's definitely top 5 for me all time. Definitely
Mhm.
top 5 for me. But I don't know who would shake out in that ranking system.
What would your just like throw out names that you would have in the top 5?
All right, so Satchel, probably Koufax. Um, I guess Walter Johnson has to be there. I guess Nolan Ryan. I guess Nolan Ryan has to be. Nolan Ryan's tough for me because yes, he has a stupid, ridiculous, nonsensical number of strikeouts, but he was also never the consensus best pitcher, which I think says a lot, especially when you played for that long. But at the same time, he has a ridiculous number of strikeouts. So Nolan Ryan appears there, I guess, for me. Randy Johnson's probably there for me too. Bob Gibson's got to be there. I know that's already more than 5 names, but it's so tough.
Uh-huh.
What about you?
Being a 6'7" tall, lanky white man, it's hard not to put Randy Johnson at number 1.
Big unit.
The big unit.
You're both
Um,
lefties.
and we're both lefties. I think Roger Clemens needs to be in the conversation.
Yeah,
Um,
he has a whole bunch of war, doesn't he?
yeah, he does. I mean, it's the steroids thing that like gives me a pause, even though by all other accounts, we've kind of accepted that. Um, without really digging into it and without being able to give, you know, holy fuck, who are we talking? Satchel Paige. The deep dive into like his Negro League career as he deserves. I think I gotta give it to Clemens or Randy Johnson, one of the two, but Clemens being the, clubhouse leader.
Right.
Do
I
you think
got you.
there's any pitcher active today that would give any one of those guys a run for their money, or at least ever enter the conversation?
Um, it's always tough talking about top 5s with baseball because the stats have been kept and mean so much for so long. So I like the first one of the first guys that stuck out in my head was Clayton Kershaw,
Of course, yeah.
and it's it's very easy to look at Clayton Kershaw and say he's absolutely one of the greatest pitchers of my lifetime, because he absolutely is. 3-time Cy Young, MVP, Triple Crown, 8-time All-Star, World Series, 5-time ERA title, Gold Glover, 71.6 WAR. Absolutely one of the greatest pitchers of my lifetime. But baseball is so old, and there are so many players over that stretch, so many pitchers who accomplish so many things that even looking at the fact that I would probably say Clayton Kershaw is the best active pitcher right now in terms of all of his cumulative stats and performances, I don't think he enters. Might not even enter a. Oh, it's close. I was gonna say it might not enter a historical top 10, but it's fucking close. He probably. I don't think he gets into a top 5 though. If we're talking all time.
I don't think so either. You know, I think the name that jumped out after Clayton Kershaw was Justin Verlander,
Yep.
and I don't think he's going to go there. The third name was Jacob deGrom, and I think he has this weird phenomenon of getting better every single year, despite him being 33 years old. So Clayton Kershaw had such a dominant peak, it gets him into the conversation we're having. But in order for him to reach, the accolades and the, you know, complete career that some of these other guys have had already, he would need to play in probably into his 40s. And while he's still a good pitcher, he's not, I would say, an elite pitcher in the context of this conversation. So I don't think he would ever have the chance to get there. Jacob deGrom, on the other hand, is so good and getting better every single year that even though he started when he was 26 years old and came into the league when he was 26, which nowadays it's not 41, but it's still a very late age to kind of break in. The fact that he's 33 and still this unbelievable, still the best pitcher in all of baseball at 33 years old and getting better every year, I see him having the ability to kind of drag this into that same kind of age 40 season and still be, at least from where we are now at 33, a chance to build on this legacy and work himself deeper into the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Koufax conversation. You know, he didn't pitch for a very, very long time, but the peak was so unbelievable that it forces the conversation. You know, um, we talked about it a bunch of times. Koufax only has like 48 WAR or some shit like that, but he is such an easy Hall of Famer. Literally, he's in, because his peak was ridiculous. The three highest
And he
active
ended on
WAR
top.
pitchers. Yeah, and he retired when he was like I think literally won Cy Young his last season. I kind of forget, but that sounds right. So we're gonna roll with
He
that.
did. He was so he won Cy Young and finished second in MVP voting both of his final 2 years. Was third in Cy Young voting his third to final year. Cy Young MVP fourth to final year, and that was, that's how he closed out at
Right.
30 years old.
Fucking ridiculous. The three highest active WAR pitchers, which I feel like we've talked about a bunch, but whatever. The highest active WAR pitcher is Justin Verlander at 72.3, Zach Greinke at 68.9, and Clayton Kershaw at 68.8. And if you're saying, hey, Josh, you just said Clayton Kershaw's WAR earlier, it was 71.6. Yes, I did. I'm sure he has some OWAR because he bats. Or fields, and I'm sure that this is just pitching WAR. That Baseball Reference does faux this shit. I don't see. It's player value pitching. What do you think? Player value batting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, look at that. Clayton Kershaw, 2.9 career OWAR. Way to go, Kersh. But anyway,
I
yeah,
know some
Verlander
batters
is.
that don't have that.
Yeah, right. Granted, it took him 14 seasons to get that shit, but still. Verlander is 38 and Greinke is 37, so their odds of ascending to fucking honestly even 75 is slim to none. Kersh, for as old as he feels, is only 33. So he could conceivably play another 5 seasons, which I don't think would be an outrageous number of seasons to continue playing. His career 162 game average for WAR, which really just means seasons, not literally 162 games, because no pitcher plays 162 games in the season, is 6.3. So if you add that together with lazy math and call that 32 extra wins, which, oh boy, does it sound like a lot, but honestly isn't ridiculous to think of. That'd be over 100 WAR. And I don't really doubt Kersh could do it, but it's a matter of how sharp is a decline, because all declines come eventually, and how does he avoid getting injured? And those are things that cannot be predicted. But if that did happen, he would bump Christy Mathewson out of the top 10 in career WAR, and nestle himself right under Randy Johnson, which is also wild. Yeah.
If you had to pick one pitcher, one young pitcher today that has the ability to catapult themselves into this conversation, do you have any that come to mind?
Oh, damn. Who's young?
So jumping out for me, at least looking through this list of kind of who is still young enough to kind of have a significant jump forward or has a peak that is still unseen, yet is also playing at a high enough level to where, the peak can be something of an all-time great, and we just have to see how that consistency and how the time throughout his career kind of just stays with it, is Shane Bieber, only 26 years old, played 4 seasons so far,
No, he's too old.
already has, a tremendous career behind him. Won a Cy Young, was top 4 the year prior. We'll see what happens this year, but the fact that he's had no less than 118 strikeouts in a season so far is pretty great for those numbers. Those are, pretty great numbers. So let's see. His WAR per 162 right now is 5.0, but I feel like that is not bad for being halfway through his 4th season.
Hmm.
And a triple crown, not bad.
I'm not sure if we have a guy that's like
There's
that yet.
none that really jump out outside of that, right?
No.
Like, and even that's like it's
Oh, yeah,
not
I wouldn't even
anywhere
pick
close
Shane.
to certain.
No, I mean he's 26 with 11 WAR.
Yeah.
It's just not.
It's a hard way to get another 90.
Yeah, by the time Kirsch was 26, let's see. Hold on 1 second, folks.
Also
He
started
had
2 years
48.1
earlier.
WAR.
Oh my god, are you serious?
Yes. By the time Clayton Kershaw was 26, he had 48 WAR. Oh, hold on. I have his age 27 season. Sorry there, folks. I was rushing. 40.8 WAR.
Well, I mean, if you look at it through his first 4 full seasons, he had 12.9,
No, he had
which
18.5.
is not exactly,
18.5.
sorry.
18.5 WAR, not 12.9.
Are you correcting yourself or correcting me?
Correcting
Because
you.
I accidentally muted myself.
You said 12.9. In his first 4 seasons, Clayton Kershaw had 18.5 WAR.
18.5 WAR, 4 plus 4 is 8 plus 3. Oh, I'm looking at WAA. I can't read. Fuck. All right. No, you got me there.
Oh, I got you.
You got me. Got to be quicker than that.
Oh.
I leaned on my mic and it has a volume control on the bottom, so I muted you. So I just heard you start talking and then not knowing what was going on, so just rambling through it. And, oh my god. Oh, we're just hitting crisis after crisis over here.
That's the way she goes. Yeah, it's tough because obviously there's a bunch, and I don't mean to make it sound like there's no great young pitchers because there's a bunch of great young pitchers. But when you talk about who has a chance of being like an all-timer inner circle guy, first off, it's an impossible conversation to look at someone who's like 19 and be like, you're gonna do it, because no one fucking knows. And even guys that end up making the Hall of Fame because of later career runs, I mean, like it's certainly possible. Can Shane Bieber pitch for 12 years? Longer and end up averaging a stupid number of wins per season and end up one of the greatest pitchers of all time? Absolutely. He could. It's one of those things you can never predict. Obviously we're looking at age because there's such a time factor with this type of shit. But I mean, how can you tell? There's no way of telling. So it's fun to look at players who are up right now and make guesses, but it's impossible.
It's throwing darts,
Right. You really are. So I guess let's just loop it on back to Satchel real quick, which is, believe it or not, where we started. Where the fuck did I even put his baseball reference page? There we go. Yeah. So his best individual season up in the MLB, I guess we'll go by ERA plus, was his first year with the Indians when he had a 165 ERA plus over 72 innings. His innings high watermark came in his age 45 season with the Browns. He made an all-star appearance that season. He threw 138 innings to the tune of a 3.07 ERA, which would be the third lowest season of his career, which is rock solid. But yeah, he had his one individual appearance in 65 with the Kansas City Athletics, in which he pitched 3 innings, allowing um, just one hit and getting one strikeout. So at the ripe age of 58, he came out and still threw 3 scoreless innings, facing 10 batters. Just so stupid. He's 58. uh, but
Is he the human embodiment of the phrase "fuck you"?
he's just the king of cool, man. You should look up his tombstone. His tombstone has on it some of like Satchel Paige's like tricks to stay young or some shit like that. And even just the way it's written out, you can tell he was like one of the coolest motherfuckers on the planet. Um, I think he's he's one of the first players you learn about when you learn about the Negro Leagues outside of Jackie Robinson. Usually it's Josh Gibson and Satchel Paige, and he totally earns that with the legendary stories that he has told about him. So shout outs to the always relevant Satchel Paige making his MLB debut 73 years ago today.
Ew.
Again, as of recording this. Uh, in other pitching related news, I took part in a virtual book tour yesterday with CC Sabathia, which was pretty cool. And I asked a question that got answered about what MLB should do to uh, get keep fans more engaged and to get more African American kids involved in the sport in a way that can lead to a greater black representation in the major league level. And his answer was very much so not what I was expecting. Tune in next time to find. No, imagine.
Yes.
It was a really insightful answer. He basically said, "I don't think it's up to Major League Baseball. I think it's up to the players." And he talked for a while about how there's a bunch of organizations that he works with and that he knows of that try to increase engagement in urban areas and black community centers to try to get kids of color playing the sport and get them, just on fields in general and on as many teams as they can be on. Because that's one of the things he touched on is like, if you got a kid that's good at baseball, like you got to get them on as many teams as they can be on. It's not just a matter of having like a local league that you do 1 or 2 times a week or however much it is. It's like really getting in as many plate appearances or innings or whatever as you can. And that is expensive and that is time consuming. And it's in part up to, in his answer, large part up to the players and the Players Alliance, which was helped started by CC last year, post George Floyd, to raise money, raise awareness, and raise engagement. And MLB's role, he really didn't emphasize at all, and said largely it's just not even theirs to own, which is an interesting perspective. I think at least I myself personally fall back on the idea that like here is the institution, the large institution, and because their umbrella covers everything, they should be involved in everything. And I do still stand by that to a certain degree, but I really I didn't emphasize as much as he did in my thinking of it, the players, and I think he's probably fucking right. I mean, why would I be right over him? He's literally CC Sabathia, and I am literally nobody. So obviously CC is going to have a little bit more insight into that than I would. Um, but yeah, it's I think the only time we ever talk about player accountability with this type of stuff is usually like, whether or not players want to market themselves, the Mike Trout conversation. Um, and I hadn't really thought about it in a way of, players reaching into their own communities to try to be that guiding figure to getting, kids that wouldn't have the opportunity, whether for whatever reason that is, to get more involved in the game. But it's a prescient point. I don't know. Is it ever? Have you? I'm sure we've thought about it and talked about it to some small extent, but have you thought about it at all?
Um, Nothing past what we've already kind of jumped into, where the marketing, yes, needs to be better. The community outreach needs to be better. The ability of teams to reach out to their own communities, not just communities in general. You know, it needs to be something that comes from everywhere. I will say, when you started this conversation off with, well, yesterday I took a virtual book tour. I was just about ready to just end the call and just go about my merry way. That just sounded like the worst possible thing that we could talk about. That ended up being really, really insightful. I enjoyed that.
Corwin hates books, folks.
I do. I don't know how to read, so it's tough. Um, how long have we been going?
A little under an
56.
hour.
So
Yeah.
we have like one more topic of discussion.
Well, hold on. I wasn't
Do
done
we
with this
want?
one yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were moving on. Okay, okay,
Oh,
okay. My
well, because I
bad.
was going to say, it feels tough for me as a fan to put too much of that burden on players because of baseball. I remember as a kid we played it during the summer, and because it is a summer sport, and that is when MLB players are also playing baseball. And so, as a relatively sympathetic person, as a sympathetic baseball fan, I want to look at the players and go like, how much can you do when you've got potentially a wife, maybe a couple kids, that you get to see on the like maybe 10 consecutive days you're home, and then the rest of it is spent traveling on the road. How much can you really do to boost this? But I mean, you know, at the same time, though, again, CC is right. Being he mentioned a story I didn't know, which for something about CC Sabathia I didn't know. Oh my goodness. But Dave Stewart was a member of CC Sabathia's Boys and Girls Club, out in Vallejo, and Dave Stewart came to the Boys and Girls Club when CC was a kid, and that was one of the things that like inspired CC to become a baseball player, and then also become something of a philanthropist and involved in community activism, because seeing Dave Stewart, one pro ball legend, and as well as being one of the greatest black baseball players of all time, seeing him and that representation, and understanding that when you're a kid, you look up to these people so much more because they have that little like shine to them. He was still doing this shit. I should be doing this shit too. And it's that type of stuff that's going to have more of an impact, or at least a very, very large impact comparative to, I guess, what MLB can do on its own, because I focus more on the financial side of it, which is throwing money at the problem, which she said is not necessarily the solution, which again, go fuck myself. He's probably right. But again, just something that I hadn't really thought about. So yeah,
Hmm.
it was an interesting conversation.
I don't disagree with you. I do have to admit, though, I had to look up who Dave Stewart was.
You don't know Smoke? One of the meanest pitchers of all time?
I don't.
Love Smoke. Oh my god, his Oakland years are legendary.
Why?
Because he was one of the toughest dudes on the mound, man. He was a
Okay,
personality.
but what does that mean?
I don't know how to like. You ever just look at a pitcher dealing, and he looks like the angriest motherfucker in the world?
Max Scherzer?
Yeah, imagine Max Scherzer, but tougher. That's Dave Stewart. Not necessarily as good. Max Scherzer is surely going to be a Hall of Famer, and Dave Stewart is not, for good reason. But
Yeah, I get what you're saying, though. I get
yeah,
what you're saying.
he is one of the Black Aces. I will also mention he had his 1987 campaign with Oakland, in which he won 20 games. Yeah, man, that like 87 to 1990 stretch with Oakland, so fucking good. But anyway, what were you gonna say as we were moving on from this topic?
I was gonna say, do you want to discuss the newly set home run derby field?
Yes, I do. That's actually one of the things I had up, but forgot to write down in the chat.
I can't be blamed for that fuck up now. Hey yo, I
No,
got blamed
sir.
last week.
So I know that there's supposed to be 8 names. I only have 7. Do you have 8?
I have 8.
Okay, so tell me who. All right, so then why don't you go through it and I can fill in the name I'm missing?
Uh, okay. We have, in order of people I care about, Shohei Otani and
Yep.
7 other people. Um, Shohei Otani, Juan Soto,
Oh, that's the name I didn't have.
Matt
Okay.
Olson, Trevor Story, Pete Alonso, Salvador Perez, Trey Mancini,
Mancini.
and I don't care, and future Padre himself, Joey Gallo,
Why would Joey get? Okay.
future Padre.
I
There's
do
rumors
not think
about
that's going to happen.
the Padres trading for him.
Oh, sweet summer child. Welcome to the Yankee syndrome, which is my team is good and has
Hey,
prospects, which means that we are involved in
guess what?
everything.
Guess what? We're the team that does trade for fucking everybody now. So come at me. We don't just throw money at people and just say, sign with us, and then whip their dick out and throw it on the table. Look at all of our rings. We're the fuckers that do it. Look at you, Darvish. Look at Blake Snell. Look at Mike Clevenger. Look at our entire team. Boom. Roasted.
I am roasted.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, so tell me about who you're excited about here.
Um, I mean, I'm excited for the field. I think the fact that the biggest part of this is Shohei Ohtani.
Absolutely.
There's just no two ways about it. He is him and um, Fernando Tatis Jr. are the 2 biggest stories of this season for very good reason, and the fact that Tatis is not going is really not shocking. He had a shoulder injury from swinging too hard this season. No shit, he's not going to go to an event where the whole point is to swing out your goddamn shoes the whole time. So
Yeah.
we should not be surprised. But to get Shohei to do it, and to, because obviously you can, as a baseball fan, you can make baseball appointment television for yourself, and you can go get MLB TV or find a VPN that can access you Los Angeles Angels broadcasts and watch Otani's games. But it's just much easier to get a national eye on things when it's the only thing happening and it's on, I would assume, ESPN or some shit like that. I'm sure it'll be on a national network wherever the home run derby is broadcast. I really don't feel like looking it up. And it's different. It's different even than when you have the single national game like the Angels play like on Sunday night ESPN. It's different to have it be like the only shit going down, and being able to really like make a point of, hey, we got like the coolest dude on the planet to be in this shit. Come check it the fuck out. Um, the rest of the field is fun. It's a super fun crowd, especially Joey Gallo getting to be here, Juan Soto getting to be here in what has been a relatively quieter year from him, to remind people that my guy's pretty fucking good, even though it's been a quieter season for him. And then Trevor Story getting to put on his Yankees showcase there, but outside of Shohei Ohtani, who else are you excited for?
I'm excited for Joey Gallo. I'm excited for Juan Soto. I'm excited for Shohei Otani 3 times over.
Excited for Trey Mancini. Came back from cancer this season. Dude's kicking ass.
Yeah, I'm excited for the story. I don't really expect him to do well in this compared to, the guys he's going to be up against, so I'm not terribly excited. But I think Shohei Otani is built for the home run derby, and my biggest concern is, him obviously getting hurt first and foremost. But like him just having the, I guess, longevity to go, 3-4 rounds of this. Like, we saw Vlad Guerrero lose it last year because he just got fucking tired after mashing every single baseball thrown to him. So I think if he can go the distance and he can, uh, keep himself from just passing out, I think he just is naturally gonna bash the fuck out of these baseballs. He has like a 66% extra base rate. He hits long fucking balls.
Yeah, he does, and I understand the concern that happened to Aaron Judge in 2017, and he finished out the season, and he was like he had a shoulder injury, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I got this during the home run derby," and it's like,
Mhm.
oh, no one wants to fucking hear that. And he's not the first person to say that. That's kind of a common thing you hear. Um, but at the same time, it doesn't happen to everybody, so we shall see. Their number of home runs in order. Shohei Ohtani, who hit one today, is up to 31. Joey Gallo, who has hit two today, is up to 23. I don't have the current day totals for everybody else, but fuck it. Matt Olson, third amongst the gang with 20, tied with Salvador Perez with 20. Then we get a tie between Pete Alonso and Trey Mancini, each with 15. Then Trevor Story, who has a mere 11, followed by Juan Soto, who has 10. Now, it doesn't necessarily matter who has more home runs if we just plucked. Actually, that's a good question. It doesn't really matter if you just take the top 10 home run hitting people this season, because that's not necessarily what the home run derby is all about. Which, by the way, if you did, it would be Ohtani, Vlad Guerrero, Fernando Tatis. The 2 out of 3 of those openly said they wouldn't do it. Kyle Schwarber, who is currently hurt, Ronald Acuna Jr., Joey Gallo, Rafael Devers, Adolis Garcia, Marcus Semien, and Javi Baez, who all of that group outside of Acuna has 21. Acuna himself has 23, although now Gallo has 23. So it's more so about your ability to hit home runs and also whether or not you want to do this shit. I distinctly remember an incident in 2017, 2018, in which Logan Morrison, I believe, got
Oh no.
mad that Gary Sanchez got picked to be in the home run derby, and he didn't, because at the All-Star break, Logan Morrison had more home runs than Gary Sanchez. And everyone was like, yeah, but you're a punk bitch. And also you had one good season, so pipe down. And that's why that's why you see the Juan Soto that he only has 10 on the season, but Juan Soto can fucking mash.
And he would be fucking electric in the home run derby.
Yeah, he would. Pete Alonso obviously having a
I,
quote unquote down season as far as home runs go, but dude won this shit last time they did it. He's very, very good at hitting home
right.
runs.
He's hit 53 home runs in a season. He's there. He pretty much has an automatic invite to the home run derby because he can hit them in his sleep. Um, I really want to see Juan Soto take a pitch and do the Soto shuffle in the home run derby. That is if nothing else, that's just something I want to see. I think
I am excited to see Trevor Story do it. I have often spoken in this past few weeks about wanting to see wiry players that normally wouldn't get invited to the home run derby go up to the home run derby to see how they do. Obviously, Trevor Story getting the invite because this is taking place in Colorado, and for now, Trevor Story plays for Colorado.
and also hits massive amounts of home runs. It's not he doesn't mash already.
Right, 2018 and 2019, he hit 37 and 35 respectively, which is pretty damn good. So it's not like he can't hit them.
Pretty good.
But yeah, he is definitely I guess probably maybe second wiriest next to all right, so hold on. Trevor Story is 6'2", 213. Trey Mancini 6'3", 230. Trey Mancini feels skinnier than Trevor Story. Tough to say.
I don't know.
Either way, we're getting scrawnier dudes in the home run derby, which I think is going to be kind of fun, because could you imagine if Pete Alonso lost the home run derby in the first round to Trey Mancini? You know how amazing that would be?
That would be hilarious. That would
For
make
one, the storyline, but also just
infinitely better than
visually.
seeing a guy that just casually hit 20 home runs in a round. is just him getting knocked out by a guy who hits like 13, and then that's just absolute cap. Oh, I love it. I just love shit. I love the chaos that comes with the home run derby.
Oh yeah.
It's so much fun.
Which is why, hot take, they should not force players to wait until the ball lands to hit more. Because
100%.
theoretically, so first off, number 1 point, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Well, who gives a fuck? And number 2, it's not like players, for the most part, are going to go up there and just go full bore 100% for what? 60 swings? Like,
Yeah.
they're going to kill themselves trying to do that, swinging at full force like 60 times. It's not going to be the nonstop monster dong show everyone's expecting. Chances are players will still pace themselves in the beginning and then speed up maybe a bit at the end if they need a few extra, but like it's not going to be Rip City.
And it's just straight up more enjoyable when you have the anticipation of like these moonshot home runs where it's like, oh my God, is it going to land, in center field? Is it going to land, outside, whatever? Like it's a more anticipatory type of swing or type of ball that's hit. And the fact that the setup, the way it is now, so heavily favors these line drive hits sucks because they're nowhere near as fun.
Which guarantees Shohei a win since he is the line drive home run king this season.
Well, he just happens to hit the ball at like 116 miles per hour every single time he makes contact. So
Don't we all?
no,
No, we don't.
not even a
That's
little,
why it's
not
good.
even remotely close.
Pedestrian numbers.
Estrogen numbers.
Man, it's gonna be a fucking blast though. I am looking forward to it.
100%. It's the best all-star game
Event.
setup event. Yeah, event's the right name in all of sports, and I don't think it's close.
Speaking of which, and we can I guess close on this. Jacob deGrom is not going to pitch in the All-Star game. He said today. Which also makes total fucking sense. Much like Fernando Tatis Jr. will not be swinging in the home run derby coming off of a shoulder injury. Jacob deGrom has missed several starts with injuries of his own, so the idea that he's not going to throw even just one inning, but still one very insignificant inning and risk an additional injury also makes a fuck ton of sense. Who do you think should replace him? He endorsed Taijuan Walker, which I think also makes a lot of sense.
It makes sense. I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head who I would put there.
I mean, Taijuan Walker's having a solid ass season. 2.44 ERA, 85 innings pitched. He's got himself 87 strikeouts. WHIP of 1012, a FIP of 306.
Is Trevor Rogers in the All-Star game?
I don't know.
Because he would be my choice if he is not.
Yes, he is. He is. He's there.
All right, then my second choice, if this is an option, Freddie Peralta.
Oh, did he not make it?
No, he did not.
Wow.
Which is a goddamn shame.
Yeah, wait, that's actually wild.
That is stupid. It should be Freddie Peralta. It absolutely should be Freddie Peralta.
I had assumed that Freddie Peralta was actually there because I forgot and haven't checked. Yeah, it should totally be Freddie Peralta. Dude's WHIP is below 1.
Dude's got 3.1 WAR with 129 strikeouts and 93 innings.
Yeah, he's
185
on pace.
ERA plus 185.
He's on pace for a cool 250 strikeouts. Like, he has more strikeouts in the first half of this season than he's had in any given season of his career, which is only 3 other seasons, but still. Like, it's only 8 more innings than his entire 2019 season, but it's already 14 more strikeouts, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should totally be Freddie Peralta.
And also half as many innings, less than half as many innings.
I know it's tough because that would be your third Brewer pitcher, but still. No, your third Brewer starter, your fourth Brewer pitcher. Fuck, they have good pitching. Man, if I told you at the beginning of the season that the Brewers would have 3, potentially 4, oh, actually, you know what? I haven't looked at these standings in a while. The Brewers really are kind of running away with this division, aren't they? 51-35. Second place team is the Reds at 44-41. No, hold on. We have to save that
There it
talk.
is.
Have to save that talk for next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the topic?
I was starting to look at standings.
Oh,
And
yeah.
gotta hold on to that shit. I've been purposefully avoiding standings for like a week and a half because it's going to make me want to talk about it on the show, and I want to wait for the All-Star break.
Yeah.
So
No, I got it. It's the right choice.
yeah. All right. Well, then let's wrap it up here. Unless you got anything else. As Corwin Heller sassily shakes his head.
Yeah, this is a audio podcast, right?
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, if you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at JuicingPod. If you'd like to hit Corwin Heller up on Twitter, you can do so at Corwin Heller. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, you can do so at Joshua D. Tracy. If you'd like to send us emails, you can do so at juicingthenumbers@gmail.com. And until Monday, y'all have a good one.